Hello, so welcome to another reading vlog. This week, I've got a couple of epic fantasies that I'm going to be reading. Firstly, I've got Path of Daggers, the 8th book in the Wheel of Time. I read the first 7 books last year. I read the first one physically, and then the rest via audiobook, and I was really bored. I really struggled to pay attention, even care about anything that was happening. I didn't mind the first book though, and I think that my growing dislike is because of the way the characters are developing and also the way that it just feels like everything is happening so slowly, and a lot of what's happening I don't even care about. Like, I don't think that it's me that's the problem. I think it's the books. I don't think it's the audiobooks that are the problem. I think it's the books. But I did like that first physical one better, and I do feel like if I keep listening to audiobooks, I'm just not going to be paying attention. So my plan is to continue the series via physical books. I have most of the rest of the books in physical form because I got them once at this book sale, all secondhand. So I'm going to continue. The Wheel of Time, if you don't know, is kind of in this world where time is circular, so events always repeat, and there's a bunch of kind of like prophecies of the things that are going to happen, and we're following this group of young people as they get kind of involved in this prophecy and also in the different groups of power. So far, so I read 25 pages of this last night. I wanted to read the first chapter, but the first chapter was like 66 pages, and I was way too tired for that. 66 pages. Honestly, what the hell? All that happened in the first 25 pages, oh, you know what? The text doesn't even actually start until the 15th page. So I read about 10 pages of the prologue. Wait, is there another chapter in here somewhere that I didn't find? Was I really close to chapter 1? I was. So the prologue finishes on page 44. Anyway, whatever. The 10 pages that I read was basically just these different leaders getting together. This seems like they've got some kind of conspiracy going. They don't want our main character, Rand, to know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Mainly all that was happening is one of them was having a lot of opinions about the other ones as they described them. It really wasn't a great start, but I'm still hoping that I will enjoy this series better physically. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to really try and read the whole thing this week. I don't know how that's going to work out. The other thing that I'm doing is listening to the audiobook of Seer of Sevenwaters. So this is the 5th book in the Seven Waters series. I think there's 6 books in total. It follows different characters from the Seven Waters family. I really love the first 2 books. The next ones haven't been as good, but I have still enjoyed them to some degree. This one, we're following the sister of the previous book, who is a seer. So she sometimes has prophecies and she's able to see things that are happening to other people. We haven't really gotten much into her powers yet. All that's happened so far is there was a shipwreck out on the coast. Some of the survivors have ended up coming to live with them. And there's this one man that she saved that she seems to have some connection with. There's also this strange thing going on with the wife of the captain of the ship, who is mute but is doing some very strange things. There's definitely some secrets going on about what was actually happening on the ship. So I'm not far into it yet, but I think it's interesting me so far. It's definitely more interesting than Path of Daggers. Anyway, other things that are going on. Firstly, over the weekend, we had a massive amount of flooding in Auckland, and actually most of the North Island of New Zealand has been having so much rain. There's been so many slips and heaps of people have lost their houses. I'm lucky I live up on a big steady hill, but not that far from me there's been quite a lot of flooding. It's a bit of a disaster, and over the next couple of days we're expecting more rain, which, given that everything is already soaked and ruined, I hope it's not too much rain or we're going to be in trouble. So I guess we're seeing what's happening with that. As I said, I live on a hill, so I should be fine. Not sure about everyone else though, so we'll see. But by the time I post this vlog, it should be all over, hopefully. Or at least for the majority of people, not all over for the people who've lost their houses. And I think a lot of infrastructure is going to take a lot of time to build back up, so that's not great. The other thing that is going on though is I am working on decluttering my house so we can move. This flood has definitely supported the idea that we would like to move out of Auckland. So far, there's been no damage in the town that we're thinking of moving to. So my main goal for this week is to declutter everything that's in the lounge. This room here, my officey room, last week I did manage to get rid of my spare bed that was here, which has freed up some space. So I'm going to try and move everything I want to keep from the lounge into this room. And then in the lounge, I'll just have things that I need to sort out, get rid of. That's the plan. So in the lounge, I have some shelves, and I'm going to try and move all the books from those shelves onto these shelves. These shelves are already full, but there are some shelves at the bottom that have some rubbish I could probably get rid of. Probably. But these bookshelves are the only bookshelves I would probably be taking. My other bookshelves I'd want to get rid of. Let me go and show you them. So these are my shelves in the lounge. Most of the shelves actually behind the sofa are somewhat empty, but I think there might be some books I've forgotten about. Most of these are books that I want to keep, but I guess we'll review that as I take them off here and move them into the other room. And I've also got some CDs and DVDs to sort out, some games and stuff to sort out. I don't know if I'm keeping my book trolley. I got lots of stuff to sort out. But at least that is mostly stuff that I can do inside while it's raining over the next couple of days. I also have a bunch of booktube video stuff that I really want to sort out, so I'll try and do that. I just never seem to have enough time, even though I'm not working anymore. But admittedly, I was dying of my period the last couple of days, so that has kind of put me a couple of days behind on where I wanted to be. But also, like, isn't it nice to just be able to rest for a couple of days rather than trying to push through work when you feel terrible? Anyway, I think I'm going to spend the rest of the day like cycling between editing videos because I just filmed a bunch. Oh, I've just remembered I need to film another one. Anyway, filming, editing, and also decluttering. I'll just cycle around those activities for the rest of the day and we'll see how much we can get done. Maybe I'll also add in a little bit of rest into that cycle. I only had... Wait, what's going on? Oh, more emergency alerts! Emergency alert. Heavy rain warning for Auckland north of Orewa. That is not me. Act immediately if you see rising water. Cool. So, ta-da! My bookshelves out here are now empty. It's super weird. I still need to dust things. There's a lot of spider webs down the bottom. I need to sort all that out. But I emptied all these shelves off. Let me show you what my books in the other room are doing. So in here we now have a lot of books on my shelves. Like, this is ridiculous. I've squished in so many books. It's kind of crazy. And I also had to get rid of some things at the bottom. I got rid of some notebooks that I've had for ages. I can't justify having like a whole box of notebooks when mostly I take notes digitally now and I don't even use notebooks. And I did keep a couple because I couldn't get rid of them all, but some of them will be finding new homes. Some of them, unfortunately, I had used enough that I had to throw them out, but there was still some space left. But like, anyway, I'm done with them. But it kind of hurt to declutter all my beautiful notebooks, to be honest. Still, I've got a lot of books still, and I am very proud that I managed to squish them onto these two shelves. Anyway, I put you up here so I can update you on my reading. Last night, I tried to read some more of this and I only got up to the end of the prologue. I've been reading this for 2 days and I've only read like 30 pages. It's so boring. There's things happening, but we just spent like quite a lot of time with this Aes Sedai. So the Aes Sedai are the woman with the power. She's been captured and she's kind of pretending to go along with her captors and help them with getting answers from the other Aes Sedai. But like, it just goes on and nothing it's saying is really that interesting. Like, that scene did not need to be that long. No way. But anyway, I guess it was just the prologue. I'm sure prologues are meant to be exciting, but just the prologue. So we'll see if once we get into the story properly, if I'm more interested in what's happening. I'm not sure. Oh, actually, I remember there was another part in the prologue. And it was all this guy explaining how this stupid stones game worked. Oh, that was boring too. I'm sure it matters. Actually, I'm not sure it matters because Robert Jordan tends to go on and on about stuff that doesn't even matter. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this, but I'm going to keep trying. The other thing that I've been doing is listening to Seer of Sevenwaters. I don't think I'm very far through it, like maybe a third of the way through it. So as usual with these books, it is really slow to get started. I think Juliet Marillier, often at the beginning, it's a lot of like normal day-to-day life stuff while you get to know all the characters, and then once you've become really attached to these characters, like they just feel like real people, then the shit will go down and things will be a disaster. To be honest, this book, beginning with like a shipwreck and having that excitement at the beginning, was probably more exciting than most of the books start. And so I think maybe I kind of forgot that she normally has these slow starts. So we're just kind of spending time with our main character as she tries to help out with this guy that she rescued from the shipwreck. I'm sure that's going to be the romance, but he doesn't have any memories of who he is. He's really struggling. Is he even going to die? Probably not, because Pretty sure he's the love interest. But yeah, slow start. I do think the sun has now come out, so I might go for a walk later. We had some more really heavy rain this morning, and we had a little bit more flooding as a result, but I think more people were more prepared, and also like the houses that were going to be fucked are already fucked, so it didn't make things worse necessarily as far as I've heard, and hopefully that's the worst of the rain for a little while so we can recover now, because it really has just been more rain. I think I read somewhere that in like 48 hours we got more rain than we normally get, or that we've ever had in like the middle of winter during a whole month. Like, it's hard to express how much more rain we got in the last week than we normally ever get. It's ridiculous. And that's why our infrastructure couldn't handle it. So, yeah, hopefully the rain has finished for now. I do feel like there was something else I was going to tell you, but I can't remember what it was. I guess that's all for now. Hello, so a quick update because I'm meant to be heading out to Jason's place. It is still raining, or like briefly it was sunny again, and then it started to rain again. So I'm worried about going out that I'm going to get stuck in some flooding, but like it's light, so it should be okay, but also everything's so wet that I think it's just going to flood really easily. But I got some things I need to do, so we're going to go out and hopefully we don't drown. But I did want to update you on my reading. So I've been struggling through this. To be honest, I wasn't making much progress, but then last night I had a breakthrough. So what I started doing is listening to the audiobook, which I was able to get from my library, and reading this at the same time. Now, I've tried that in the past, and like I didn't find it that great, because like if you're listening to the audiobook, the benefit is that you can do other things at the same time as long as you can pay attention. Or if you're going to read the physical book, then I find the audiobook actually usually makes me read slower because it's slower than I can read. But when it's a book that you're struggling to pay attention, I was reading this so slow. However, I think listening to the audiobook and reading the words at the same time, like they're both keeping my attention in different ways. And so somehow it works together to make me more focused on this. And I have gotten through a couple of chapters, not heaps, but a couple of chapters. Now, in that couple of chapters, like just over 100 pages, I think I read, or maybe I've read 3 chapters. Anyway, not that far, but so far, nothing's really happened. We're mainly following these women. There's a few different groups of powerful women that have come together and negotiated a bit of a deal, and they're now traveling somewhere to do something. And the first 100 pages, that's all that's been happening. And it's just about, like, I guess the tensions between the different groups, but it's really not that interesting. It's not written in an interesting way. And I can see there's parts where I feel like he's trying to do like Tolkien-esque descriptions. I'm not a fan of Tolkien-esque descriptions anyway, but I don't think that he's doing a particularly good job of them regardless. So, like, not much has really happened yet, but I think I found a way to make progress through it, so that's something. The other thing I am listening to is that audiobook for the Seer of Sevenwaters. I'm just past halfway, and stuff is starting to happen, so we're now going to go on a bit of a quest. However, I'm not feeling that engaged. There's a romance, and it's kind of like the battle between love and duty, but the duty that she's talking about is like a religious duty, and I'm like, well, just don't bother, because I am not religious, so like I'm not really relating to her problems. I don't feel like, compared to the earlier books in the series, her problems seem like very non-problems, whereas the earlier books in the series, it was such like tragic family situations that I could really feel, whereas this, not that big an issue, don't really care. But we're only halfway through, so we'll see how the last half goes, I guess. And I guess that's all for now. Hello, so I have just been trying to film, but it is so hot and the cicadas keep singing and I have to keep shutting my window. I've opened it now, so if they start singing again, too bad, because I am too hot to deal with that anymore. I did just want to show you though my ridiculous setup. So what I decided to do is make this little teleprompter. I've put my iPad underneath where my camera normally goes, a couple of kitchen clips, and then at the back here is a USB cable. Ridiculous. Anyway, we're going to go to the other room where it's cooler. Okay, you're probably going to have trees and the fan and cicadas in the background, but I just can't do that whole room anymore. So, too bad, I guess. I wanted to update you on my reading though. So, Seer of Sevenwaters, I have finished it. It was not my favorite of the series, maybe even my least favorite. It just took so long to get going, and then what actually happened wasn't that interesting. There was this whole thing with a sea serpent that I found really interesting, and I couldn't help but think about the Live Ship Traders series in The Realm of the Elderlings. I think sometimes Juliet Marillier's writing is a little bit similar, but also just the angst in this book didn't live up to The Realm of the Elderlings or the other books in the Seven Waters series. It's really just all around the fact that this girl is a druid. She feels like she has this call. Now we got car horns. She feels like she has this calling to be doing what the gods want her to do. But then, of course, she falls in love with this guy, and it's all like, oh, but I can't be with you because I'm a druid. Really? Maybe it's because I'm not religious, but I just didn't care about any of the drama. The sea serpent bit was interesting, but we didn't really get that much of it. It was such a small part of the book in the end. So, like, it was fine, but it didn't really give me what I wanted. But I've only got one book left in the series now, so I've nearly finished it, and that's exciting. So then, the other thing is the Path of Daggers. I'm continuing this. What I think I'm going to do now, I'm making the argument that I've gotten into the story now. So I'm going to do both reading it physically and audiobook, whatever I'm doing, however I'm reading for the next day or so until I finish it. Just because I want to finish it, and if I start another audiobook, then this is going to take me all week to read, and I don't want to be reading it all week because I'm not enjoying it that much, and I don't think anything I do is going to make me enjoy it. We finally got up to a chapter with Perrin, one of the boys, rather than following the girls around doing their nonsense. There was kind of an exciting battle scene at the end of the girls' part, but also not really that interesting. And I really don't know why we spent 100 pages on what happened at the beginning of this book. And now we're with Perrin, and honestly, I was reading it last night, and I can't even remember today what Perrin is even doing. Just mucking around, always complaining about his wife. That's pretty much where Perrin's at. I just think I don't really like any of the characters. They're all always complaining about other people, and they're so judgmental, and they're so arrogant. I kind of want to get back to Matt, because Matt is a little shit, but at least he's meant to be a little shit, and I enjoy it. All the other characters are meant to be the heroes of the story, but they're all so unlikable to me. Anyway, I got to a chapter with Perrin, so at least something different is happening now, and I will keep trying to continue this. Oh, also, you'll see, look at those empty shelves back there. I'm pretty much just surrounded by empty shelves now. These are empty bookshelves. Over here, lots more empty bookshelves. Over there is a bunch of stuff I need to sort out. So I've still got lots more to sort out, but I'm making really good decluttering progress. I'm very happy with myself. I can hear those cicadas just got much louder now, so I guess that's all my updates anyway. I'll check in again when I've made some more progress on this. So, it has been a few days since I last talked to you, and it is 100% because of this book. I was not having a good time with it. I was just struggling to get through it because nothing was happening. It was making me not even want to read at all. So what I've decided is, the main reason I was pushing through with this series is because I wanted to read the ones in the series that were written by Brandon Sanderson, the last 3. Honestly, it's not worth the pain of reading these books. However, what I've done is I DNF'd this about a third of the way through, and then I went online and I read the plot summaries for the rest of this book, which nothing happened, so I didn't miss out there. It would have been such a waste of time to continue. And I also read the plot summary of 9, 10, and 11. Now, it does seem like nothing much happens in 9 and 10 either, but 11 things kind of wrap up, and apparently it's kind of setting up for the final battle in the last 3 books. I'm not sure how the final battle is going to take us 3 books, but that seems to be what's happening. So, DNFing this one, although I know what happens. Same with 9 and 10. What I'm not sure about is that I do actually own book 11 as well as 12 and 13. I think book 14 is the last one, right? I don't have 14, but I have these ones, so I can read these 2. Oh, these are 2 heavy for holding. But what I'm not sure about is in this one, some of those plot threads do wrap up, so maybe it would be worth reading this one. As well, I went on Goodreads and I had a look at the average ratings, and you can see that actually the first 4 books have pretty good ratings. It kind of goes up even, which is what you expect from a good quality series, because the people who don't like the first books won't continue, and then the next books should only have people that liked the first one. So there should be, as long as the quality is consistent, like an increasing amount of people rating the series highly. So you would expect a good series to go up, or at least stay steady. So Wheel of Time did that for kind of the first 4 books, and I actually also reread the plot summaries for those first books, and I have to say, they have good plots. There's good plots in those first books. Things were happening. But then the 5th book, very tellingly, the plot summary is only like 1 paragraph. Nothing happened. And then the books after that, kind of the average rating drops down until we get to this one, book 11. This is the last book that Robert Jordan wrote, and the average rating jumps up again. Seen from the reviews that a lot of people think this one is better, but maybe also not great. So I don't know. If you've read The Wheel of Time, let me know if you think I should jump to Knife of Dreams and give it a go, or whether I should just go straight to The Gathering Storm. If I start with The Gathering Storm and I'm not having a good time, then I'm probably just going to DNF the series and read the rest of the plot summaries. Because these books, these are not small books. Like, look at them. They're massive. So we're not going to read them if we don't like them, but I'm going to give them a go. If you've read The Wheel of Time, let me know whether you think that's an okay plan. I'm probably going to go ahead with it anyway, but I'd still be interested to hear your thoughts. Also, if you haven't read The Wheel of Time, I don't know, reader beware is all I have to say. I think the first few books in the series give people an idea that it's actually going to live up to the hype, and then they're just not prepared for the slog. It's called the slog for a reason, because it definitely is a slog. Anyway, let's chat down in the comments. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.